Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of God's creation. It is the 1st of July, 2025. And as always, holding the media's feet to the fire because they twist, they turn, they gaslight, they propagandize, and they lie. And guess what, campers? You won't be trusted anymore. All right, welcome to the Tuesday edition of the WTFReports. I'm your host, Dave vonKleist, and yes, I am on the record and well documented for over 3 decades of screaming about the media lying to you. You can't trust anything that's coming out. As they say, if their lips are moving, they're lying to you. Oh, gosh, I don't know what to believe anymore. And what was it? William Casey from the CIA said, we know that our job is complete when everything that the American people believe is false. Anyway, well, I'm working against that here, and I'm here with the audio receipts to help you think for yourself. And as always, I humbly and respectfully request that you visit our website, TheWTFReports.com. Do some business with our advertisers because this broadcast is brought to you in part by the Wave Watch, and I can't sing the praises of this little device enough. It is based, of course, upon Rife technology. Royal Raymond Rife knew that Tesla was right. Frequency is everything. And sound frequencies do amazing things, and that's why this little wristwatch is pretty cool, because it's a Rife machine you wear on your wrist. Do some research on Rife technology, Rife machines, and then visit our website and click on the Wave Watch information, and I think you'll find it very interesting, yes. Anyway, that said, let me see, where do I start today? Let's start with, let's go back and revisit the Pizzagate controversy. Yeah, that conspiracy theory. Yeah, you know, Hillary Clinton and Uma Abedin and John Podesta and all those people that were involved in Pizzagate with Alfonso, what was his last name? Alfonso something or other with Comet Pizza. But they said that was all debunked. Yeah, they did research on that, and that was all nothing more but a conspiracy theory. Well, according to the People's Voice, they have uncovered some really interesting information. Pulitzer Prize-winning Washington Post reporter, his name is Thomas Pham Legros, and yes, he did win a Pulitzer Prize for uncovering this conspiracy theory. Yeah, he was the one who covered up the Pizzagate issue. He was arrested on child porn charges. And his file goes all the way back to 2005. It was reopened under Trump. Thomas Pham Legros, a 48-year-old editor at the news outlet, and again, that's the Washington Post. Of course, it's the bastion of truth, right? He was led away in handcuffs last Thursday after FBI agents raided his D.C. home and discovered a folder on his laptop which contained 11 videos depicting horrific child sexual abuse material. This bombshell admission from the FBI came during a court case involving Clint Hamden, a Texas A&M employee who was arrested on a sickening array of child sex and pornography charges earlier this month. According to a statement by the FBI, Hamden was using many of the same code words that the People's Voice exposed Hillary Clinton campaign manager John Podesta was using in his personal emails, including pizza, walnut sauce, Domino's, and hot dogs. Slide Somer, editor-in-chief at the Recount and friend of John Podesta, was arrested for raping multiple toddlers and babies. But it gets worse. Police also found text messages that were reportedly sent by Somer that shared advice on how to kidnap and rape a child. This doesn't get any sicker than this. I mean, this is absolutely disgusting. And you know what? You know what happens to these child predators? You know, when they get caught and then they get sentenced, etc. Well, I'll tell you what. Here is a CBS report about what happens to pedophiles when they're arrested. And, here, you listen for yourself. Here it goes.
CBS News investigation has uncovered a loophole that allows accused and convicted American pedophiles to escape justice by moving to Israel.
Jewish Community Watch, an organization that hunts down accused pedophiles who flee to Israel from the U.S., exploiting a process called law of return, whereby any Jewish person can move to Israel and automatically gain citizenship. Yom Tov pled guilty in 2002 to sexually abusing and committing lewd acts against 3 other boys. He served jail time, but when he was released, he violated his probation and, according to JCW, fled to Israel with help from individuals within the Orthodox Jewish community.
The same thing that's going on in the Catholic Church right now around the world, the exact same thing happens in our community. The rabbis say it's, you know what, he promised he's going to go for therapy, he's never going to do it again. Boom, he's in another community. A few years later, he's at the same thing, and we hear more allegations that the person continued to abuse children.
And often, those abusers end up in Israel.
Why would someone want to help one of these pedophiles escape?
Oftentimes, there's some sort of community incentive. Either somebody owes them a favor, or someone in the community, let's say an institution, has covered up for them in the past, and they know that if this goes to court, there's a lot of civil liability coming down the line.
Shauna accuses the Israeli police of not prioritizing accused pedophiles on the run.
Why do you have to be the ones that do this?
Because nobody else is. I don't have any better answer than that.
And if you guys weren't doing it,
then nobody would do it.
If American officials don't try to get accused pedophiles from Israel, then they simply escape justice and leave children at risk.
Why do they say more pedophiles aren't being apprehended?
So it's very complicated when you leave the United States and go to Israel. First, they say that once these people are wanted, that they need to go to Interpol and have that international arrest warrant put out for them so that the Israeli authorities can then start looking for them. Extradition is expensive, and a lot of these jurisdictions just don't have the money or manpower to really pursue them. A lot of the times, these people have help. And help within the community, people that help them flee to Israel.
These are elaborate schemes.
They are, and they need a lot of people to pull off. And they say that there needs to be a conversation within the community about not protecting people.
So the pedophiles are, they're escaping justice by running to Israel. Yeah. That's that country over there in the Middle East that everybody is so afraid to say anything against. Because they're involved in, well, shall we say ethnic cleansing or genocide? Okay, you can't say that. Oh, okay, yeah. It's like anti-Semitic to expose sniping children and blowing up hospitals, killing aid workers and first responders and just wiping out entire communities. If you point that out, well, then you're an anti-Semite. That's obviously because those type of practices are common practices for the Israelis. And so you shouldn't be talking about that, right? I tell you, we are living in the madmen are running the asylum, and as a matter of fact, Marjorie Taylor Greene was talking with Tucker Carlson, and by the way, there is going to be somewhat of a shotgun blast of topics today. I'm all over the map, but I've got to get this stuff out. Marjorie Taylor Greene was talking with Tucker Carlson in regard to whether or not we have allegiance. The elected representatives of this country have allegiance to the United States. Who are they serving? I think we all know. Give a listen.
Since I've become a member of Congress since 2021, we have voted on 22 resolutions for Israel. 22 of them. All kinds of resolutions, denouncing anti-Semitism, supporting Israel. We voted on 22 of those. We never vote on resolutions proclaiming great things about America or defending certain Americans or defending Americans in general. But we have voted on 22 resolutions in the House defending Israel.
How many of you voted yes on?
I don't know my exact record. The last one I voted no on, and then the one before that I voted present because I just started getting sick of it.
Well, that's kind of it. I mean, I've always noticed this, certainly in the last, I don't know how many years it's been, a while, where Republicans in the Congress are, always talking about Israel. I'm not against Israel. I've always liked Israel, so I haven't really noticed it. Okay, fine. Love Israel, love any country, whatever. But it feels like something has changed. Like why? And clearly it has for you. What is that thing?
Well, I think here's the situation. it's coming to a point where it's so obvious all the time in everyone's language, the social media posts they put out, the statements that they make. They have to proclaim Israel. They have to proclaim their faith and loyalty in Israel and how they, Israel is our greatest ally. And it's a statement that has to be made over and over and over again, to the point it's becoming like, wait a minute, what about our own country? What about our own people? And we have so many problems here in America. And we talk about this all the time. $37 trillion in debt. Just like you and I were speaking before, our kids' generations. My kids are 22, 25, and 27. And our children's generation, they can't afford rent. They can't afford to buy a house. They can't afford insurance. They can't buy a new car. They can't find a good paying job. They're living month to month, paycheck to paycheck, credit card bills stacked up. And they literally look to the future going, how am I ever going to realize the American dream? And it seems hopeless for them. But then in Congress, everyone is chasing and pursuing and proclaiming their loyalty to a foreign country.
Yeah, that's right. That's because this is now the United States of Israel. That's what's happened, folks. And if you don't believe it, just look around. Wake up. Smell the, I was going to say the matzahs. Smell the matzahs. Yeah, okay. Anyway, by the way, if you didn't hear yesterday's show, you might want to go back to our archives at the website, TheWTFReports.com, and listen to yesterday's show. Because, the damage that was done in Israel when Iran launched all those missiles, they did massive damage. And a lot of Israelis now are fleeing. And you know where they're going? They're going to Cyprus. Yeah, Cyprus. And you know what? They have been purchasing large tracts of land, homes, and stuff like that. And the people in Cyprus are freaking out because they're being taken over. As a matter of fact, they're starting to call that part of Cyprus Israel 2.0. So it looks like the Israelis are they going to have a Nakba against the Cyprus residents now? I don't know. But anyway, okay, going to change gears a little bit here. I have a very disturbing report here, and this comes from Dr. David Martin. And I heard about this. There's been some chatter about a horrific false flag attack that could occur on Independence Day, this coming Friday. And I want to share this with you. And I also have the document. I'll lead you to that. We have the document. We will have it posted on our website. But give a listen to this. If this doesn't curl your hair, straighten it, and curl it again, I don't know what will. Give a listen to this.
And we sit back in this stunned mullet silence of going, clearly they're not going to do it again. Well, bad news for everybody. Tom Ridge, that's right, the Secretary of Homeland Security, when it was first established under the Bush administration, collaborated with a group of people to come up with a scenario in which they are calling for, and listen carefully to what I'm going to say, the death of 280,000 Americans on July 4th, 2025. In 1 month from today, there is a plan that involves the murder of 280,000 Americans on a single day. And the best part of it is they're going to blame a foreign actor for it, except for a tiny little problem. Yeah, if you hop down to page 9 of that National Blueprint for Biodefense, Seth, and highlight the first major paragraph under the U.S. House of Representatives, let's go ahead, for the sake of everybody on here, make sure that we read it. We were attacked, and we don't know who did the attack. But the infectious agent they used killed 280,000 Americans and infected at least 400,000 throughout the country on a single day, in addition to 200,000 dead and 800,000 sickened animals. Now, if you scroll up for a moment, Seth, and keep going until I tell you to stop, just keep scrolling. Scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. What you're going to find when you get to this page, oh, there you go. Look at ex officio members. If you look at the ex officio members of this particular committee, there are two names that I want to call your attention to. Gerald W. Parker and George Post. Those names are names that people should be familiar with, but they are not. These are veterinary scientists and gain-of-function scientists who have done an enormous amount of work in a variety of pathogens. George Post famously was very much involved in the Arizona contribution to the gain-of-function research that brought us COVID-19 and all of those kinds of things. And here we have the same actors. In this case, we have the ability to go into their research and find out what kind of pathogen would go after humans and animals on the same day. How do we figure out what that is? And it turns out that there are a bunch of options. Nipah virus is what they refer to in this scenario, but equine encephalitis, which is a huge gain-of-function problem, is something that these guys have been familiar with. And there are several other pathogens that these guys have been working with. And the fact is that they're telling us that on July 4th, on the celebration of the 249th year of America in its formation, we are going to allegedly have a biological weapons attack. And do you realize, Seth, that not a single person in law enforcement, not a single person in the White House, not Bobby Kennedy at HHS, not a Tulsi Gabbard at the DNI, not a single person is actually taking an action to interdict the actors that I'm talking about. This is not a problem that happened during the Biden non-presidency. This is a thing that is a statement of intent to once again take advantage of human dynamics.
So,
where we are going to appeal to fear, we are going to appeal to this notion that somebody out there attacked us, where we know already who the actors are. We have a high probability of knowing what they're going to say the pathogen was. And remember, these are not pathogens. These are weapons deployed against humanity. And as I've said many times, we can go back and look at the likely delivery mechanisms, which are rocket-propelled grenades that have blast-resistant pathogen concussive devices that allow a pathogen to be spread over a stadium, over a park, over any one of a mass gathering event, where you wouldn't know the difference between a firework going off and a pathogen ballistic device spreading toxins across a crowd. In fact, if I were going to do it, I would actually do it during the fireworks celebrations. So we know that this is actually a fully planned, fully baked, like you said, Event 201 kind of thing. And yours truly is the only one that started talking about it.
Amazing. Yeah. Now, he just mentioned this is sort of like an Event 201 type of thing. Now, I'm not here to spread, fear porn, but I remember what Event 201 was. And for those of you, the regular listeners who've got your head screwed on, of course, if you've done any research, you know what Event 201 was. Back in 2019, all of these globalists got together in a panel to discuss how they would handle a hypothetical. Yeah, it could happen. Yeah, maybe there would be some sort of a pathogen like a COVID outbreak or something like that, a pandemic of sorts. And this was in October of 2019. And they went through, they had this whole panel of globalists out there, and they were talking about what restrictions that they would put in and what policies that they would implement, et cetera, et cetera. And wouldn't you know, this whole thing, it came to fruition just a couple of months later when COVID broke out, and we ended up with the global pandemic. Yeah, so Event 201, it's sort of like these globalists, they got to tell you what they're going to do before they do it. And that's sort of like, this falls right into that description. Event 201 happened in October of 2019, and what do you know, a few months later, oh my God, we've got a pandemic, a COVID outbreak, and the whole world freaked out. And of course, then they had to roll out their hokey-pokey thingy-dingies. So I'm not here to spread fear porn or anything like that, but, after hearing David Martin talk about this, I did a little research. And I found the actual document here. Let me see if I can pull it up. Where is it? It's called the National Blueprint for Biodefense. You can do a search. I'm looking at the URL. It's biodefense.org/reports/the National Blueprint for Biodefense. And there's hyphens in between each word. So I pulled up this report and I looked at it, and just as Dr. David Martin was explaining, the people who were involved, they're got their fingers they're up to their eyeballs with biotechnology. And so I went to this, and it's all right here. It's all right here. So let me see here. Acknowledgments, blah, 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 blah. And it explains, it's a scenario. It's not, they're reporting it as if, it could happen on July 4th of 2025. And it explains, there could have been or could be some sort of a biological attack that will kill 280,000 people. I mean, it's right there in their document. And we'll have this document posted at our website at TheWTFReports.com. We will have that posted there. So, anyway, this is just, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you about this. I'm not here to spread, fear porn, but there it is. There's the document. So anyway, I just, I felt that I had to share that with you. So at this point, large gatherings, big city events, stadiums, huge parks with fireworks displays. Yeah, we don't know where or how, but one thing is for certain, and I've been talking about this for quite some time. We know that the globalist agenda is to drastically reduce the human population. Etched in the Georgia Guidestones, we all know about that, and I can quote it, the number one tenet: maintain humanity at no more than 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Yeah, they've got to knock down the population to 500 million. Current population now is just over 8 billion, so 7.5 billion people got to go. And they're going to do it by any and all means necessary. So anyway, and that brings us to the next topic of discussion, which is the hokey pokey thingy dingies. Yeah, I can't say that V word, and this is why, I'm here with the audio receipts. You get to hear it directly from the horse's mouth. It's not yours truly making this stuff up. I'm doing the research, and I'm pulling up these audio clips here and sharing them with you so you can hear it directly from them. So hopefully I don't get into big trouble. But Del Bigtree, of course, he's been doing a lot of screaming about the hokey pokey thingy dingies. Here's something that he put out there. This was posted. Listen to this.
This is the U.S. FDA's approval of Sanofi's meningococcal vaccine for infants. Now, this vaccine has been approved for children, but now they've lowered that exception. They've lowered that approval to 6 weeks to 2 years. Let's go back to that insert, the one that was just approved by the FDA. Okay. We look at their serious adverse events. This is the safety trials. It says in study 1 and study 2, following any dose in the 4-dose series. So it says there were reported 5.3% of participants following Menquadfi and 3.6 participants following Menveo during the entire study period.
SAEs being serious adverse events. And serious usually means has the potential to kill you, right? If it was left unchecked, it means it's serious. What they're saying here, folks, is you used to hear that serious adverse events were 1 in a million in vaccinations. There were 1 in a million. Right here, this product is being approved, and it's 5.3 out of 100. So it's about 1 in 20. It's 1 in 20. So out of every 20 kids, one of them is going to have a serious adverse event. Can you imagine having 20 cupcakes in your classroom and just say one of those your kid's going to have to be rushed to the hospital for it? Would you let your kids take that cupcake? The curtain's been pulled back of the 1 in a million. They are accepting adverse events inside of 1 in 20 right now and saying, good enough for us.
Yeah, that's about it. And how many people actually read the inserts of these hokey pokey thingy dingies? And we're not just talking about the COVID hokey pokey thingy dingy. We're talking about the standard vaccine. I mean, I said it. I said the bad word. The standard hokey pokey thingy dingies. So, as a matter of fact, there's a Dr. Stephen Kirch that was talking about the autism issue. Oh, yeah, there's that issue about autism. Listen to what he had to say about it.
How many children or people are totally unvaccinated? Is that where do you find? Is it just the parents that stepped up and said? I would think that's a very small percentage because so many of us blindly followed, the recommendations to vaccinate children.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to pause it for a second. This was a hearing. I don't know who the person was you just heard that was asking the question, but here is Dr. Stephen Kirsch's response.
It's less than 1% of the public. So the Amish are a perfect example of a large group of people who are largely unvaccinated. And there's we can't find an autistic kid who was unvaccinated. It's very, very rare in the Amish community, very, very rare. You won't find kids with ADD, with autoimmune disease, with panda pans, with epilepsy. You just don't find any of these chronic diseases in the Amish. And the U.S. government has been studying the Amish for decades, but there's never been a report out to the public. The reason, of course, is it would show that, if you don't follow our guidelines, you're going to end up healthier. That's why there's no report after decades of studying the Amish. There's no report because the report would be devastating to the narrative. It would show that the CDC has been harming the public for decades and saying nothing and burying all the data. Yeah, that's it. And again, this is the Amish community because they don't get hokey pokey thingy dingies. And the kids are fine. And they've been fine for generations. It wasn't just Dr. Stephen Kirsch talking about this issue with the hokey pokey thingy dingies in regard to autism. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. had this to say.
What you would do if you wanted to find the answer, which is to compare outcomes in a fully vaccinated group to health outcomes in an unvaccinated group. And CDC did that study in 1999. They brought in a team of scientists under a Belgian researcher named Thomas Verstraeten, and they looked at the data. They looked at children who had received the hepatitis vaccine within the first 30 days of life and compared those children to children who had received the vaccine later or not at all. And they found an 135% elevated risk of autism among the vaccinated children. And it shocked them. They kept the study secret, and then they manipulated it through 5 different iterations to try to bury the link. And, we know how they did it. They got rid of all the older children, essentially, and just had younger children who were too young to be diagnosed. And they stratified the data, and they did a lot of other tricks. And all of those studies were the subject of that kind of trickery.
All of those are that kind of trickery. And of course, the pharmaceutical companies have been immune from any type of prosecution thanks to under the Bill Clinton administration in 1986. Yeah, they passed that I forget what they called it, the bill that basically protected the pharmaceutical companies from any liability whatsoever. And isn't it a coincidence that right after that, the schedule for childhood vaccines exploded? One hokey pokey thing after another, after another, after another, after another, after another, after another. Yeah, they just kept on increasing the numbers of hokey pokey thingy dingies to be able to do this to the American people. And again, I can't emphasize this enough. Their plan is to reduce the world population drastically. Well, guess what? I want to go back to Dr. David Martin because he basically found an Achilles heel. Yeah, there is liability if the pharmaceutical companies is involved in a crime. Yeah, I mean a big-time crime. Okay, let's listen to David Martin again. Here he is.
There is a single silver bullet inside of the 1986 National Vaccine Injury Act and under the 2005 PrEP Act, which is that there was a felony committed in the process of promulgating an emergency use authorization. Then the corporate liability shields that protect companies like Pfizer and Moderna and Gilead Sciences, and that protect the hospitals and the consolidated healthcare organizations. Those civil protections against liability exist only if there were no felonies committed in the creation of the emergency use authorization.
Ooh.
We know that from racketeering, from lying to Congress, and from now, premeditated and negligent and reckless homicide. We know that there are a number of felonies that have been committed. What we're now doing is actively pursuing the enforcement of law enforcement around the country to bring those felony cases forward so that we have a pierce of the liability shield that currently is the reason why the pharmaceutical companies and the healthcare companies and everybody else thinks that they can operate with impunity. Real human beings right now are being murdered by people in lab coats today, right here in Salt Lake.
Mm-hmm. So in other words, folks, if there is a felony involved, and we now know that the CDC and the FDA have been lying through their teeth. They've been lying through their teeth, and these are indeed crimes against humanity. I got one more clip here before I take a quick break. This was a conversation that was going on down in New Zealand, and there was one guy that was talking about the number of fatalities in regard to how many people got the hokey pokey thingy dingy. Give a listen to this one.
And you noticed the 91, what was it?
Yeah, I was all on board at the beginning, and that's something that they cannot dispute. Okay. But I saw some.
He just said I was all on board at the beginning. Okay, and a lot of physicians were. You know, they heard about this, and of course, you know, they get all their marching orders and all their official information from the CDC and the FDA. But the CDC and the FDA were lying. And so let him continue here.
In the data, based on my experience, that shouldn't be happening, and that was the excess deaths which you're referring to. One vaccinator on one day vaccinated 99 people, and within a year, 36 of them were dead. And that is 1.8 trillion to 1 against. That should never happen. And there are hundreds and hundreds of instances like that all over New Zealand.
That's what got the judge.
All over New Zealand, there are hundreds and hundreds of incidents like that. Now, to reiterate, it was a little hard to hear. He said that there was a physician that gave 99 pokes, and a year later, 36 of the 99 were dead. Let that settle in, folks. I mean, this is what we're up against. Anyway, going to take a quick break. Here we go.
Get More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now, the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your equipment can use Get More Tank. A 5-pack on sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code REDPILL101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranties, results vary.
And as you've heard in the past, if you're a regular listener, you know that I've been using Get More Tank in my car for quite some time. Let me see. It's just been about a year. Whoa! Okay, let's just hold on there for a second. I don't know if we got a caller there. Whoa! Okay, I think we have a caller. I don't know. But anyway, as I was saying that I've been using the Get More Tank for just about a year. And my experience was right off the bat, I noticed that my car ran better. When I hit the gas, it took right off. My engine is running better. It's running cleaner. And after a couple of tanks, I started to see a serious increase in my mileage. And you will too. Depending upon your make, model, and year, you're going to see anywhere between 15 and 20% increase in mileage. So the bottom line here is that when you Get More Tank, you spend $20, you get 5 tablets. And that means that if you're getting 20% better mileage, the 5th tank is free. Do the math. You spend $20 and you save a tank of gas. How much is a tank? This is a no-brainer, folks. It's a win-win-win situation. So go to our website, TheWTFReports.com, and Get More Tank. Okay, I got a couple more things I want to get to. However, the callers come first. And caller, are you there?
I am here.
Are you there? Are you all there? I'm not all there.
Yeah. I'm all here.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
what's going on?
Who are you, and where are you calling from?
It's Mike from Connecticut.
Oh, okay. Hello, Mike. Welcome to the broadcast.
Okay.
Yeah, this is my
voice.
This is my no, I didn't recognize it at first. This is my buddy Mike, who helps me with the website, and he's one of my cohort here. So anyway, Mike, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this stuff about what's happening on July 4th.
Yeah.
I believe you talked about it. I took, and as you say, with the receipts. So I put the video of the guy on the website, and I also put the document. So if listeners go to the website and they go to the top menu, they're going to see WTF links. Under that, there's a video link, and under that is a link to documents. So I have both the video and that big, huge document there so that people can read it and be scared themselves.
Yeah, well, bless your heart. I appreciate that. And again, listeners, this is my buddy Mike. I've known Mike for 35 plus years. We go way back. And he's a computer guru and knows how to do websites, and he knows all the technical stuff that I don't know. I'm an analog guy in a digital world, but he kept up with all the high tech stuff. So he takes care of the website. So, all right, so that's great. You put that up there.
It's all up there. And one more thing. David is very humble, and he never asks. He does say, visit our sponsors, but we have a GoFundMe page, and right now we need donations. It costs money to promote this show and produce this show. So please go to our website, go to our GoFundMe page. Even $10 helps. We have hosting costs, we have marketing costs, we have distribution costs. So please, if someone can help us, Dave won't ask, but I can because I'm the marketing guy. So please go to our GoFundMe page and help Dave out to finance this show.
No, I appreciate your stepping up for me there, Mike. I really do. And the thing is, I think everybody knows at this point that I really suck at self-promotion. I've never been into this for the accolades and the praise and the ego stroke and the money and all that type of stuff. And this is why my music out there, I'm not out there selling my music. I got 3 albums of music, and it's all out on YouTube for free. And as a matter of fact, when I was with the Power Hour, we produced 4 documentary films. I'm not here to sell them. They're out there for free on the internet. And there are people out there selling my music and the documentaries on eBay. I don't know who they are. I don't care. It's about getting the message out. And so, I don't know, maybe I'm an idiot for not taking advantage and capitalizing on it. But again, if I was to do that, then I would become a hypocrite, because I always say that there are too many people out there that are in it for the wrong reasons. They're either in it for the praise and the accolades, or they're in it for the money. And no, I'm walking the walk here. I'm not into it. I don't need the ego stroke. As a matter of fact, I'm very uncomfortable when people go, oh, you did the video. No, go away. I don't like it. So. Anyway, Mike, I certainly, right. I really do appreciate your efforts here. So, and again, yeah.
Okay, so please help us. And Dave, we wasted enough time on shameless self-promotion. Go ahead.
All right.
Warn the world.
All right, warn the world, he says. Okay, thanks for the call, Mike. I appreciate it. Okay. All right. Back to the matters at hand. There were several other things that I wanted to get to. Oh yeah. What's going on in New York City right now? They have a Democratic Socialist candidate for mayor, and people all over the country are talking about Sharia law like it's nothing. They're talking about Sharia law like, oh, okay, well, we can deal with that because we're tolerant. We want diversity, coexistence. You folks don't understand what Sharia law is. This is horrendous. It's not just a religion. It's political dogma. It is a Sharia law. Okay, wait a second. In this country, we are under constitutional law. But Sharia law is different. They're incompatible. And yet these brain-dead idiots are saying, oh, well, we have to let the Islamics do what they're going to do. You fools. I can't find the words. Here's a woman up in Canada, and I had to bleep out a couple of expletives, but she gives a little bit of an explanation of what Sharia law is. Listen carefully. For those of you who are saying, we got to be tolerant. We got to be tolerant. Listen to what Sharia law is going to do to the United States. Here it is. Oh, and there we go.
Okay, Mega. It's time.
Okay, oh no, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. Here, this is the one I want. Here we go.
I'm seeing a lot of people getting called like Islamophobic and racist and all this crazy shit because they don't want Sharia law to come to Canada. So let's just break this down real quick so that the leftist women can get it through their thick fucking skulls. This is not something that they want here either. So what is Sharia law? Sharia law is an Islamic legal system based on the Quran and Hadith, which is sayings of Muhammad, and centuries of interpretation by Islamic scholars. It's not just personal religion, it's a legal and political system that dictates how people live, dress, speak, worship, marry, and even die. It's actively enforced, and it's not just culturally observed, and it's in multiple countries. And why is Sharia law barbaric as hell? Well, women are treated like second-class citizens. They can't drive, travel, or open a bank account without a man's permission in some places. Rape victims need 4 male witnesses to prove it or risk being charged with adultery. Child marriage and forced marriage are allowed under certain interpretations. And LGBTQ plus people, executed or imprisoned. Homosexuality is illegal under Sharia law, and it's punishable by execution, flogging, and prison sentences. Execution still takes place in Iran and Saudi Arabia. Flogging still takes place in Malaysia and Sudan. And prison sentences still take place in Pakistan and the Maldives. You like bitching and complaining on the internet? Well, freedom of speech, not something that really exists there. There's literal laws called blasphemy laws, which means that if you say something critical about Islam or Muhammad, you're facing death or prison. Artists, authors, and regular citizens are jailed or killed over offensive opinions. Offensive. And punishments under Sharia law, they're straight from the Dark Ages. Amputations for theft, like in Iran and Saudi Arabia and Sudan. Beheadings for apostasy, which means leaving Islam. Stoning for adultery, which is still used in parts of Nigeria, Somalia, and Afghanistan. Flogging for drinking alcohol or violating dress codes. And once you're in Islam, you can't leave the religion under Sharia law. Being an apostate can mean a death sentence in places like Iran, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, Afghanistan, Sudan, Qatar, technically, Yemen. Here is a little comparison graph, I guess, of countries practicing Sharia law, either fully or partially.
And at this point, she showed a chart of all the countries that practice Sharia law.
So why don't Canadians want anything to do with this? Because women in Canada are equals, not property. Because we don't execute people for being gay. Because we protect speech even if it offends us. Because we don't amputate limbs or stone people. Because our legal system is secular, not religious. This isn't a culture. This isn't a faith practice. Sharia law is a legal system that crushes human rights, freedoms, and modern values. Calling it out isn't Islamophobia. It's basic human decency. And if you think Canadians rejecting that is intolerant, go ahead. Try living under it yourself and get back to us. We'll wait.
Oh, wait. Yeah. And I got to tell you, folks, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I was a block away from Prospect Park, from the Botanical Gardens, from the Brooklyn Library. And, when I was a kid, I used to go over to the Grand Army Plaza to the big fountain over there and go splash in the water. This is where I grew up. I spent my wonder years in Brooklyn. And I just saw a couple days ago, somebody was walking through Prospect Park. And I got to tell you, all I could see everywhere were Muslims, and they were praying, and they've taken over. Dearborn, Michigan is completely Islamic now. And down in Texas, they're building an entire city, Epic City, that's exclusively for Muslims, and they will be implementing Sharia law. And as a matter of fact, there's another guy This is the clip that I almost played a minute ago, but this is what's coming, folks. Listen to what this guy is saying. Here's a Muslim, and he's warning you. Here it comes. Oh, wait a second. Got to do this, got to do that, and now this. Okay, here it is.
Okay, Mega, it's time that you learn Sharia law. Now that we Muslims are slowly taking over your country, starting with New York soon, inshallah. And then not only are we taking over your country, we're bringing in communism. So you better get used to the idea of giving up your money and share it with the poor. And yeah, just a few things you gotta know about Sharia law. No more pork, so that shit has to go. Then you're gonna have to pay some sort of tax for being non-Muslim, of course. And yeah, so it's time to learn some Arabic, and time to put your wives in burqas, because that's going to be next. So so welcome to the Islamic State of America.
Well, so what is it? Is it the United Zionist States of Israel, or is it going to be the Sharia United Sharia States? I don't know. But I mean, we're getting, the American values are being attacked from the left, from the right, from the front, the back, the up, the down. I mean, we're under attack. Big time. Big time. And the propaganda is thick as London fog. And, there are some folks out there that think that propaganda should be prosecuted. And you know what? I agree 100%. I look back at ever since Trump came down the golden escalator, and they went after him big time. And of course there was the Russian yellow shower, okay, with prostitutes and stuff like that. And then there was Pizzagate, and the Russia collusion. Then there was impeachment number 1, impeachment number 2. And then we had all this stuff about the January 6th insurrection, okay? I mean, all of it turned out to be horse hockey. Oh, and then you can't even mention the 2020 election. Yeah. Well, what do you think we should do about propaganda? Let's ask Hillary Clinton and see what she has to say.
I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda. And whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrent.
Yeah, I think so. That's one time when I would agree with Hillary Clinton. I think we do need to prosecute these people. I think we need to dethrone them. I mean, there's a huge lawsuit right now. Carolyn Levitt is going after the women on The View. They're trying to settle out of court for $800 million. Carolyn Levitt saying, I won't have any of it. By the way, she is the White House press secretary, if you didn't know. But so ABC is on the ropes right now. And then, of course, there's CBS, which basically edited the heck out of their interview with Kamala Harris and all the stuff that they were putting out against Trump. They've got lawsuits going on. I want to see people that are being let out in ankle bracelets, handcuffs, and orange jumpsuits. And I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for these arrests to start coming. Hey, Cash, you said day one the Epstein list would be exposed. Yeah, the client list was going to be exposed. Hey, Bongino, where's that, huh? Where is it? Where is it, Pam Bondi? Are they just jerking us around? And getting back to this whole thing about the hokey pokey thingy dingy, again, I cannot emphasize this enough. These people want to kill most of the world population. This is their plan. It's part of the deal. Ursula von der Leyen said this just recently. Oh my gosh, I wish my computer wouldn't do that. Here we go. Bam.
A better world also means a healthier world. And vaccination is our best chance to do this. Vaccines have saved millions of lives in the past 50 years. But right now, millions of children are still at risk. They need vaccines. So we must continue to support vaccination around the world. And today, I am pleased to pledge $290 million for Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance. Each child should be protected. And more will come. Together with Gavi, we have the goal to vaccinate 500 million children by 2030. Europe will do its fair share. You can count on us, my friends.
Yeah, we can count on you, huh? Yeah, all that money's coming from Gavi. What's Gavi? That's Bill Gates. These people are murderers. I don't know even where they get their values. Well, actually, Ursula von der Leyen did tell us. Here's what she said.
Europe is the values of the Talmud.
What? What did you say? What did you say? Say it again.
Europe is the values of the Talmud.
Europe has the values of the Talmud. Do you know what the Talmud is? Do some research, folks. Do some research on what the Talmud says about Jesus. Do it. Just do it. I triple dog dare you. Do some research on this. So we're under attack here, folks. The entire country is like, everybody's trying to figure out what the heck is going on here. With all the stuff that's going on with Israel. Israel's pretty much taken over this country. And the only representative that I'm aware of, Thomas Massey, he's the only one that I know of that hasn't been taking money from AIPAC. And what's happened to him? They want to censor him. They want to primary him. They want to throw him out. So who is this country? Who is our representatives representing? They're certainly not doing what they're supposed to do for the American people. I mean, ask yourself, how much did you contribute to your representative's campaign? And then ask yourself, how much did AIPAC donate to the campaign? Or how much did some big corporation like Raytheon or Boeing or Walmart or something, they go where the money is. And most of the Americans, we're all just trying to find a second nickel so we have two of them to rub together. So anyway, this is what we're up against, folks, and we somehow have got to get motivated. But one thing is for sure, we mustn't do it with fear. We have to work from a prospect, of love. And I hate to say it, it's hard to love your enemies. But, I'm sorry. I had a pet once. My dog his name was Bugsy. And I had him for 18 years, and I loved him to death. But unfortunately, he got to a point where he was so sick and his rear legs were giving out on him and he was having intestinal, he was suffering. And sometimes, out of love, you have to put them down. And maybe that's what has to happen. I don't know. But there is I have another clip here, but I just don't have the time to do it. The hour goes by so doggone quickly. So, all right, in these closing minutes, I want to remind everybody that this broadcast is brought to you in part by the Wave Watch, and I wanted to mention that because usually if you go to our website and to purchase a Wave Watch, use the promo code REDPILL100 and you'll get $100 off. However, in this week, in celebration of our nation's birthday, they're offering an extra $50 off, $150 off of the purchase of a Wave Watch. Plus, if you're one of the first 200 people to order, you'll get a red, white, and blue patriotic wristband. So, please do go to our website, TheWTFReports.com. Click on the sponsors page and check out the Wave Watch because I'm sure this, like I said, it's a win-win situation. I wouldn't be behind it if it was I'm not in it just for the money. We got to pay bills, but, that's not the priority. Anyway, that said, oh my gosh, the hour's gone already. I hope that you're enjoying the broadcast, and if you are, please, if you're listening on BitChute or YouTube or Rumble, please click like, share, and make a comment. I want to hear from you. So let us know what you're thinking about this show and share it with your friends, your family, your co-workers and stuff. We got to get the word out. Get people start thinking outside of the cage. Anyway, that said, it's going to wrap us up for this Tuesday, July 1st edition of the WTF Reports. I'll be back again tomorrow with more of the news they hope and pray you never hear. I'm Dave vonKleist, and as always, I bless you all. I thank you all. I want you to stay safe, and I want you to stay free. All right, that said, I'll see you tomorrow.
No.